What is up, YouTube? Four Leaf Cards here. Hey, thanks for clicking. Man, what a national this year. Um, I had a blast, but I got COVID, so all my stuff's been in COVID impound. We didn't want to open it up. We wanted to let it sit for a couple weeks, just to make sure the virus wasn't kicking around before we started pulling things out. So it's been in impound. And I just finally got it out and got it all sitting here on the table. And I was going to make a big compilation video, but I think the best way to do this is to just put it into sections, because otherwise it'd probably be like an hour-long video. And I don't want to do that to you guys. So be looking out for some a series, I guess. And we're just going to go through it. So I'm going to start off number one by saying what a great event, and the cards and the stuff that was there, absolutely amazing. But the people, my gosh, I said this last year, but getting over to the Misfits house and hanging out with those guys and chatting into the wee hours every night wore me down, but it was a good wear down. It was probably why we all got, well, not everybody, but COVID was spreading around because everybody's wore down. But just hanging out with those guys and shooting the bull, if you will, till 3, 4, 5 in the morning or whatever. Sometimes I think we rolled into the hotel at 4:30 or whatever one night. But anyway, bunked up with Scott, Reindeer Studios. Man, always a pleasure. Scott, if you're watching this, thanks so much, man. You're a great roommate, putting up with all my snoring and all that stuff. But and all of that. But we had a gem of a hotel. We got a good deal on it. Turned the points in, so it was free, so you can't complain too much. But it was a rundown hotel, let's just say that. It was a little out of town, short drive. Not too bad. Every morning we kind of got the hang of it. After a while, you had to like go up and turn around and come back, and anyway, so just chronicling our experiences here. It wasn't horrible. Atlantic City was just a dump, man. I know everybody's saying it, so I'm the last guy to do the video probably because of all this COVID impound. But I'd never really been to Atlantic City, but there were parts that were nice. But man, you got off that beaten path and then boom, right to the garbage can. And I hate to say it, it's a shame because it's got a lot of potential, but it is what it is. Had a great time, worked out, everything good. So anyway, so the first little clip here, and I think a lot of people saw me win that the big Hobby Palooza box of football cards, Prism football cards, and so the goal was to get that sold. To find Mike. Mike was bringing them over. He said, "Don't pay to ship it, just bring it over." So the first goal was to take that box and turn it into something. If you guys remember, I drew a picture of Scott and I did Jackie Robinson. So to build on the story, I really wanted to take that and kind of turn it into a Jackie Robinson. So first things first, I got that and I had to sell it. And Scott was walking around with me, and we went to a couple tables. And hey, you want to buy this? It looks like they were selling for $1,400. I saw some tables that had it for $1,500. So I'm thinking, okay, that sell price is going to be $1,400, but I got to leave some meat on the bone for these dealers, and so I was asking for $1,200, and they just did not want to take it that, and I don't sell things, so it was an experience for me. Hey, I've got this box, I want to move it, and we walked around for a little bit, and we were looking for tables that had, the big guys, the Dave and Adams, the Steel Cities. They don't want to buy that. They got cases of the stuff that they're trying to sell. They don't want one measly box that they don't know the history of. So you're looking for a little dealer, that looks like they might have got a little bit of it, and they're trying to make some money on it. They probably paid $1,100-$1,200 for it. They're trying to sell it for $15 or whatever. So we spent some time just trying to scout out a place to sell it, and we found 5 or 6 of these, and it was like, nah, $1,200 is too much, and and they weren't even countering with anything. So I was like, man, this is just crazy. This selling game is just stupid. And it was the first day, right? So I think everybody didn't know how the show was going to go. If I had shown up later, maybe the temperature of the room might be a little bit different. But I think everybody was there just kind of, they didn't want to take a whole lot of risks. So then I finally got to another table. It was a little guy. It looked like he had a couple boxes up there. And I said, listen, these things are selling for $1,400. How about $1,100? And he said, I don't know. He looked it up on his phone. And I said, I'm trying to make it, I'm trying to turn this into vintage, just looking to get rid of it. And he said, well, how about 1,000? I said, how about we meet in the middle? So boom, I got 1050 for the box. It's I probably could have got more if I tried a little bit harder, but I was getting really frustrated. So that's a skill that, I'm glad I worked on it. If you're trying to move something, you don't have to, it's not going to happen on the first one. It might, but not going to happen on the first one, second one, third one, 10th one, maybe, So if you really think that you got something of value, you got to work at it, and I was just wanting to start spending money, not making money. So it was found money. So I took the deal, and I probably could have added another $100 to that if I really tried or whatever. But anyway, so that's the first order of business, and the other part of that is I did win a mosaic box of football. We're probably going to put this one away until Little Leaf gets older and wants to open it. So that's going to go in the pile. That was worth like $100, but I was like, for $100, I'm probably gonna have to sell it for like 50. And I said, for $50, that's what I would have paid for it. I'm just gonna put it on the pile. And then I also won this box, and again, these were selling for kind of 90. And I'm thinking, man, I'm gonna have to take 40 or 50 for it. I probably could have, but the football, the mosaic probably would have been easier to move because people are hot on that. But this prism, it's a special person that wants to buy the draft pick one. It's got 5 autographs. So I said, you know what? We're going to just take that home, and maybe we'll open that on camera someday. So be on the lookout for that. And now the story starts. So I've got this thing sold. And in the meantime, I've been trying to reach out to, Jackie guys, vintage. I reached out to, Mike and I forgot who I messaged, whoever had text messages or phone numbers for, and I said, hey, listen, I'm going to be looking for a Jackie. So I threw it out there so people are knowing what I'm looking for. And a couple nights before I left, B. Roth, Brian had a live stream. He was just going over a shoebox purchase, and I was in there and said, hey, you're a vintage guy, you're always looking at through the vintage stuff, and Hank Greenberg and all that. And if I'm looking for a Jackie, I'm thinking either like, a 50s something Jackie, and maybe even like an exhibit Jackie. And he goes, oh, wait, hold on. He goes in his closet and he pulls out this exhibit Jackie. He's like, this? And it was a 3.5 SGC. And I was like, yeah, like that. Let's talk. So we talked a little bit back and forth, messaged outside of that. And I said, you know what? Let's do it. So, I was in contact with Brian, and as soon as I sold that box, I said, listen, I sold the box. I got the money. I'm going to take this thing. I told him I was going to take it anyway, whether or not I sold the box. But I was like, all right, let's meet up. So first order of business was to sell the box. Second order of business was to find Brian and add this absolutely stunner of a 47 to 66 exhibit in an SGC 3.5. And so at this point, I felt like I had at least completed the mission. I turned that winning into a Jackie Robinson playing days item. And with these exhibits, it's really all about what's down here. So some of these made in the USA are longer or shorter, the size of the writing. Some of them will be in all caps. So this one's all caps. And then some of them will be in lowercase letters, the made in. Some of them will say printed in. So the older ones are the capital letters. And the size, I measured this one, and I believe this to be, they come in a 49 and then a 50. They skipped a year there, I think 52 or 53. Don't quote me on that, but there's a wonderful page out there that describes all of these things. And I believe this to be a 1950 exhibit. So you get this range. Come on, 47 to 66, and so this is the determining factor down here for the most part. So I believe it to be a 1950 exhibit, Jackie Robinson. So an early, an earlier one, and that makes me very happy. And I got to buy it from Brian B. Roth 6. So I'm going to put Jackie up here on the stand. Well, he might take 2 stands. There you go. And so then I still had some money left in the budget, and that's about what I wanted to spend on another Jackie. And so everybody was out looking for me, and I had found one of Jake's Legends Never Die. He had a dealer that he knew fairly well. I think that was in Ohio. And actually, I think he was like just around the corner from Scott, and he didn't have a shop or anything. He's just kind of goes to shows and sells, buys and sells. And he had an absolutely beautiful 4, but I was really looking for a 5, I guess collector grade. I mean, I wasn't dead set on a 5, but I kind of wanted this 5 I had in my mind, and that price range was right. And I said, I think I'm going to buy it, but I want to walk. He had a 4 that was priced lower than what I wanted to spend. And I said, I'm going to walk the show. I'm going to see if I can find a 5, another couple $100 and get into that, because that's a bunch of money I wanted to budget. So, man, it took us all of Wednesday and then basically half of Thursday to even just see what everybody had and look, and very specifically looking for this card and this card only. I mean, taking note about other things as we went, but really I wanted to check that off the list. And I went back, and that dealer had 2 4s. One was beautiful, like should have been a 5 almost, or a 4.5. Let's call it. So 4.5. Okay, so I'm not a grading expert, but it was a beautiful 4. Okay, and the price was the same. He had him priced the same. So I was going to take this nice 4. I kind of settled in. I said, I don't need a 5. I'm going to take the nice 4, save a couple $100, and maybe get another $100 or $200 card with it. And I went back there, and somebody had literally 10 minutes before just bought the nicer 4. And then it was kind of like, oh man, this is not good, because I hadn't really seen anything that I really fell in love with. Pricing, was high still, and I think you guys have heard the reports of that. And nobody's moving, especially the first couple of days. I mean, there were some deals being made, but they were feeling the market out, I think. And I happened across a 5, and the guy wanted a lot of money, and I said, listen, I'm not, I'm looking at some eBay solds, and I'm trying to get a good comp on it. And he had the other program that they all use, whatever it's called, and he said, listen, this is 900. I'm saying the last 2 were like 700 and 750, and I said, it's just we're too far apart. I'm not even, I'm not even going to make an offer on it or whatever, And he said, yeah, I can't. So he was trying to come down, and I just said, no, we're too far apart. That's out of budget for that. And I said, I got to go down to a 4. So, I got this 4 over here, and so this is it. I ended up buying it. So it's just in really good shape, a little off center there, but the edges are good, the corners are not horrible at all. And to me, the color, you see a lot of these with like, it's kind of faded, or you'll see some like snow or whatever on it. And the color on this one, the print and the vibrancy of it was absolutely beautiful. So I said, you know what, this is a beautiful card. And it was a little bit less than my budget. And so that left me, about $150 extra. And you'll see in another video that I ended up buying some other things. And so totally happy with it. And my man George, Diamond Yard, had a 5. It was sitting at the house the whole time. And I came back and I was telling this story about all this going on. And I really wanted a 5. And George offered to sell me the 5 and basically trade this with a little bit of cash to get the 5. And man, I had a hard time with that deal, and I appreciate it, George, if you're watching. I really 100% appreciate that deal, because I wanted to do that deal because I would have loved to buy a card from George. The story would have been even better, and I love stories even more than the cards. I love the stories. If you guys watch my stuff, you know that. But in the end, I'm happy with the 4 and the that extra money that I would have given to George. And again, the deal was I would have. I don't know why I said no, because normally I'd be like yes in a heartbeat. But for some reason, and this is a kind of an epiphany I had, that in my mind I wanted a 5. And when I settled on the 4, it was like a light switch went on. And I know everybody says this, but you buy the card. You're not buying the grade. And this card is absolutely beautiful. And when I put George's 5 with this 4. And everybody in the house, we did this in the evening when everybody's there hanging out, and we're putting it, we're looking at it. And I'm looking at these cards, and the 5 was nicer. The 5 was a little bit nicer. But this 4 was beautiful enough. And again, that $150 or $200 or whatever the difference was, I can go get another card with that. And so I've never been really put in that position before yet. So that's the first time I actually had to make that decision. And it was just interesting. And I'm surprised at me for turning down the deal because the story would have been good. But this is actually just a beautiful grayback Jackie Robinson. And I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. So, George, if you're watching, I'm going to buy another card from you at some point in the future because I got to have something from you. So there you go. So, guys, that's the first installment. There's 15, 16 minutes of your time gone. I appreciate you watching. We're going to try to have, I don't know, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 little segments here because I can't do it all at once. There's just too many stories and too many good times. So be looking for the series. And as always, if you guys are open anything, best of luck to you. Don't forget to collect, to connect. Holy cow, that's what the National is all about. And as always, have an awesome day.